Hey guys, this is Tina B.
And Charmaine G.
We're here to talk about the messiness of life. It's ugly.
And it's raw.
It's real.
And it's a freaking game.
It's whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole!
This is us.
And our gift to you.
Hi.
Hey, Tina. How are you today?
I am fantastic.
You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. You guys, she's got some color on her lips. Licking it, sticking it.
I have a little blush on. I even put a little concealer under my eyes. I'm just checking it out.
You
just
talked
checking it
about
out.
that. You talked about that. You're doing
I
good.
wear no makeup other than eyeliner and mascara.
I wish I
Usually.
was naturally beautiful. And, you know, I don't wish that. I don't care, actually. But
Why would you say that? Why do you think you're not naturally beautiful?
I don't know. Like, just because my whole life I've always had the routine of applying makeup. You know, and it's not grossly amount, but
Maybe it's just your perception.
sure. But at the same time, when you're in public, you want to present yourself, you know.
Yes.
To be honest with you, I feel like I'm undone if I don't leave the house without makeup.
And you know what? I applaud that to an extent. And then the other side of me is like, screw it. Because I'm not high maintenance. Like, I'm not saying you're high
I
maintenance.
feel it.
It's too
Cut
much.
down,
it's
hurt, pain.
No, it's too much for me to do. If I have to, it's the only thing I spend a great amount of time on, really, is cooking. I'm like, oh, if that
You guys.
enhances the flavor, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'll go the extra mile or spend the extra money on the ingredient or whatever. But as far as like, it's never been that important to me.
Right.
But as
It
an
takes
aging
me
woman,
15 minutes to do my face.
I get it. I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
I'm
And
starting to understand it.
I'm
My
aging
kids don't
my
wear
own
makeup.
face because of how I apply it. We could go into this rhyme or reason, but
Last week we had to talk about what was going on in our nation.
emergency.
Yes, which we're not going to visit that at all today. Thank you to a couple of listeners who commented on our page and were very passionate
Yeah.
about their opinion about the state of our union and what we talked about.
Right.
And I welcome that. I welcome all of that. So that's really exciting for me to go through and read that stuff. This isn't a one-sided, this is what we believe, and so we want you to believe it too, and if you don't, you need to go elsewhere. It's not that kind of a vibe we're
There's
putting
no
out.
right or wrong except for acting like a fool.
There's that. If it's harmful to others, that's an issue. But I loved that. I have a frog in my throat today. Forgive me.
Let me see.
I don't want to let him out. So there was
You
that.
were reaching for that one.
Did you swallow a prince?
Oh my gosh. My personal life is none of y'all's business.
Wait, I don't know. I didn't go there with it. I think she went there with it. I thought it was meaning that you're a queen. And okay, really, I went too far with that. But go ahead.
Anyway, so we talked about that stuff, but there were other things we wanted to talk about, and we really just went there and stayed there, and that's perfectly fine.
Heavy stuff.
So how were your holidays? Certainly, I've talked to you since then.
Yeah.
You moved,
Yeah.
so you're in your
did.
place, and
I
are you
did.
loving life?
Yes, and I actually made a comment. Cooking, I've cooked my whole mothering life, and I kind of checked out there for a little bit because of the convenience of it. But it took 6-7
The convenience
months.
of what? Sorry.
A life, you know, hey, what do you want for dinner?
Oh,
I'll
the
just drive through
convenience
and
of
grab
fast
it.
food
Yeah.
and to-go food.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, though, it took 6 or 7 months to build the house and living in small quarters. And thank you, Mom and Dad, for accommodating. You guys went above and beyond. I
That's
felt
a
12
wonderful
again,
thing.
and it was so cool. I got Invisalign, felt like I had braces, and they were cooking dinner for me. It's cool. But really, it was a loving time in my life that I needed their love extra. However, though, now I get in the house, I'm still wore out. My life pace and everything hasn't changed. But last night, extra proud. I even said, I'm not doing dinner. I have no will or
What'd you
want to
have?
cook. I cooked dinner.
Oh, you did. You
I
said you weren't
did.
going to, but you did.
Yeah, because I went home and all of a
Hey,
sudden
3 minutes and rotate, and 3 minutes doesn't count as cooking dinner.
Oh my gosh.
I don't give a shit. It tasted good. It was really good. And my kids, like, honestly, like they are. I want them to learn how to cook too, even though they're younger. 11 years of age. My son cooks a mad.
What did you
One-eyed
make?
Jack. One-eyed Jack's breakfast.
that?
Oh my gosh, it's the coolest thing. So you butter bread and you cut a hole out of
Okay.
it, and then you crack an egg, put it in the middle of it, and so you cook it on one side, you flip it over. So it's a over medium egg inside a piece of toast.
Do you put a slice of cheese on top of that?
No, no, really.
That sounds really good. There's a hair or fuzz or something.
Yeah, there is. Is it yours? Okay.
Bothering me. Oh, I got it.
So my holidays were lovely. The New Year's resolution, still haven't come up with it because I fail every year. I wouldn't call it a failure. I would just kind of say, I tried. To be honest with you, I go too far with it. I'm like, I'm going to solve the world's problems. Dumb. But I have started drinking energy drinks again, so maybe I could give that up.
So you went with, I'll just up my intake of sugar.
Caffeine.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Caffeine. They're
Both,
sugar
yeah.
free. Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay.
world
Well, there you
needs a
go.
caffeinated Charmaine. Why not? But no, I really haven't. It's been low key. Visitor loving, family moving. Yeah, that kicked my trash. To be honest with you, kicked my trash.
You must feel relieved
Oh,
to
yeah.
be. When you've been in somebody else's home. I know it's your parents and they're wonderful.
I
But
feel
you've been-
settled. I've been so
You're in your
unsettled
own
for,
place.
Yeah, I've been unsettled for 6 or 7 months, feeling like all the balls are in the air, all of them, and even one little thing of completion makes me go, okay, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Because the next fire's coming up, right? That's what we talked about. The damn game whack-a-mole. For all
There's
of our,
always. I
Yep.
mean, that's just the nature of what's going on. I didn't make a formal. I've talked at length about this, and I'm tired of hearing myself talk about it. I'm not on the cleanse, but there are certain things I just always abstain from, and that's sugar for the most part. And I've gone back to doing my hot yoga in the morning. And
You
it's
love
not just hot
that.
yoga, it's hot bar and hot Pilates.
okay.
So I'm super stoked about that. And, that little health issue that I had in December, and after, coming out of that, I really felt like I know what it's like to take care of myself. My head is clearer. I'm moving towards, there's just so much more purpose in my life when I'm taking care of it. And, I do it though. I fall off and I'm like, okay, let's just eat French fries and, whatever.
Yeah.
A bunch of cheese. I love cheese, and that's my downfall.
So
Yeah.
good.
But I've committed to making more meals for my family. They don't even know that. I've just kind of done it.
It's
and
on air now, so you
about-
can't take it
I
back.
know.
I'm going to play it over and over and over again for them.
But I enjoy being in the kitchen, and I like doing that. So
FYI, you guys, Tina can cook.
I like to cook.
She's good.
It's being creative,
yeah,
and I'm drawn to that. That's my
you
jam.
are that. You're very creative in many, many
Thank
ways.
you.
You're welcome. A lot of
you.
people aren't born with that. Everybody has a talent, but when you see it come live and you can actually see product of your talent, I want it. I want to
It's
frame
fun.
it.
It's fun
I keep
until
begging her for a
until they're
housewarming
all.
gift. I'm.
Have party.
Can I? Is that what it takes? A damn party? Okay, let's do this. So Friday. No, let's do Saturday because I need downtime. Saturday the 22nd, my house, everyone.
Oh my
Come on
goodness.
over. Bring your gift. Okay,
You have to
Sean,
bring the gift.
Is it coming? You're gonna get me something?
I don't know if you'll appreciate the gift I can bring you.
Oh my gosh!
Wait.
Look at the look on his face. I wish you guys could see it.
It's like I appreciate our friendship, but this will either
Make or break it.
intensify it, or you'll never speak or look at me again.
Bring it.
It's like a total razor's edge.
Yeah, you want to gamble, don't you?
I can show you a picture,
Okay.
but you can't say what it is.
Oh, that's
It's
gonna be
Saturday
hard.
the 23rd, just so everybody knows, because you said the 22nd,
Are
which
you
is Friday.
sure?
I'm
What is
positive.
today? What is
Today is the 12th,
Good Lord. I didn't
and the
know what today
21st
was.
is next Thursday.
Okay, so don't come to my house on the 22nd. Let's do the 23rd. I'm not giving you my address, but let's just bring
she
me a
just-
gift.
Just drive by and throw them at the house. That's what she's wanting. So that's that. We're into 2021.
I wrote it right, by the way.
I have been too.
Yeah!
I'm very happy about that.
Freaking
I'm
awesome.
very proud of myself for that.
I wonder if we like called that up because we identified that we
Oh,
were
I'm
going to
sure.
do it, and now we're like, haha,
Probably.
we win.
So last week we had two gentlemen on the show.
Yeah.
What do you? Okay, here comes Sean.
Okay, here's the stipulation.
Are you sure? I can't
If
say
you
it?
show us a dirty picture, I'm gonna knock you out.
There's nothing obscene about this picture.
Okay. Is
Okay,
it
good.
inappropriate? Is it
But
inappropriate?
you can't say what it is.
This is hard.
Oh my
Can
gosh.
Tina say what it is? Oh.
Here we go. Do I want to see it? It's not a cock and balls, is it? Oh my gosh! Okay, they all.
I want to say it. I want to say it so bad. I'll try it on.
Is that a pic? Is that from your house?
Yeah.
No. Hold on. Let me look at it
Oh
again.
my gosh!
You use it?
I'm a little embarrassed. It's funny. I mean, it's
if
funny
it's used,
and it's
I
very
don't want
intriguing.
it.
Don't touch my phone.
Okay.
You'll see stuff you don't want to see.
Don't
Okay.
touch
I'm not
my
gonna
phone.
swipe left or right. Hold on. What do you mean? You hook it up and
Let's just call
What do
it.
you do?
It's a phallic chair.
it's a riding chair. No. Okay. Give me 500 for therapist, Tina.
500 for therapist. What does that mean?
That means let's move on to the topic.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about. I
What?
want to preface it by saying this is not a religious show. This is not a political show. We will touch on that stuff, but don't come at me with like scriptural reference. I might reference one today, but I'm not. It's not. That's not what this is about.
No.
Okay. There is something that I started to explore a couple of years ago. You know, I love my Oprah and my Super Soul conversations. She, I like to listen. I will make breakfast on a Sunday morning, and I have a little TV in my kitchen, and I watched Super Soul Conversations on the OWN network. She had Joel Osteen on, and she's also had Wayne Dyer on, who may he rest in peace. He's no longer with us, but you're familiar with Wayne Dyer, of course. Joel Osteen is he's a minister of one of the bigger churches in the nation.
What religion?
It's just Christian,
Okay,
just plain old like non-denominational. I believe it's non-denominational. I'm sure I'll get corrected if I'm wrong. He talked about. They both have talked about the I am. Okay,
Wow.
so in the Bible, in Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, that is the only verse you're going to get out of me. God says, "I am who I am." So
That's really simple,
and that's his
but
name.
powerful.
His name is I am. Okay, so now to shed a little bit of light on this is Wayne Dyer's. Okay, first of all, in the modern world, a person's name is, because that's what we say. I am Tina.
Yeah,
I am a mother.
right.
I am a case manager. I am a podcaster. I am all of these things. Okay, they're usually things that I've done.
Titles.
Right.
Yep.
I'm a mom.
Yep.
I'm a wife.
Yep.
So, in the modern day, a person's name is merely an identifying label. But in biblical times, however, personal names were often chosen to give information describing in some way the character of a person or circumstances at the time of their birth. That's
Wow.
amazing to me. I freaking love that.
Can you read that last part?
Yes. Personal names were often chosen to give information describing in some way the character of a person or circumstances at the time of their birth.
Okay, let's try it because I can. I
Okay,
think I
so-
can come up with some pretty damn good stories about my birth.
What year were you born?
77.
Okay, and I was born in 66.
Sweet.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
We're MILFs, everyone. I just want to let you know we just dated ourselves, but we're still MILFs.
yes, we're still hanging in there. Anyway. There we go. Even the acronym, we got a bell ringing for the acronym.
Oh.
So what do you like? let me go back to the Super Soul conversation. Joel Osteen talks about I am. And what are we doing? What are we calling into our lives when we say I am? Like right now, what would you say? If I told you to give me an I am, what would it be?
Okay, this is a great question because you prefaced already my thoughts of I can title myself all day long. I've got a long 43-year history of labels that I've put on myself because it's the ego mask, what the world sees me as, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, however, when you ask that question, I want to answer it with my soul, not the mask. I want to say I am a devoted woman that's honest, loyal, loving, and wanting just to make it back home and try to do the right thing.
Now, that you knew what I was asking, right?
Yeah.
So there's times when, the example that Oprah gave to Joel Osteen, she started talking about the I am, and he says, it's all about this manifestation, okay? If we say I am, whatever comes after that is the reality, is what we're calling into our lives. So I am hungry. And the more you say that to yourself, the hungrier you become. I am tired. That was what Oprah said to Joel Osteen when she was talking to him and interviewing him. She said, I heard you preach about the I am and how we can either move that into a positive space or we can go into a negative space with it. And she was working on a movie called The Butler at the time. And she said we were shooting like 18 hours or something. And she said,
yes.
I was tired this one particular day, but I remembered your words and I started to say, I am awake. I am alive. I am energized. And she said it fell away.
Like it lifted her.
It did. Because it's about perspective. I say that, and it's such a huge, huge topic. And this is even a huge topic, really. We're just kind of barely going to touch on it.
Well, I have to say, I've had that same experience as Oprah did. I do it every day. You have to pull yourself out of the rut, so to speak. Now, my question is when we manifest that emotion, that positive, enlightenment, or if we hyper focus on the negative and just keep or go lower down, we have the full capability of just turning that around.
Yes, but do we?
Depends on the day, depends on the situation. But I can, back to the obsession topic, I think that's where that needle on the record player may just keep skipping a beat. It is a very I've always said our minds and our heart and mind speaking together is one of the most powerful gifts in this world. And I'll tell you about an experience that I had this morning. Is that okay?
Sure.
So get to work after scrambling, getting the kids fed, clothed, school, drop off, get to work. I wasn't aware that the door was propped open because there was an elevated gentleman in the office. And I always greet everybody, even visitors. And you could just tell he was weighted down. I mean, and when he expressed himself, it wasn't even matching what we were asking. I mean, he was like, who's going to be there for me at 3:00 in the morning when my ankles hurt? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, so what we're doing here today is this. I hear you. He wanted to be heard. And in that conversation, I immediately felt where he was at with himself. I immediately felt like he's literally in survival mode. So his mind's just spinning. And to have that common ground, I'm not going to lie to you, like I don't get to touch base with visitors very often. But when I I immediately took to him and just said, hey, what you're saying to me, it's very sad to hear. Very, very sad to hear, because he didn't want to be on this earth anymore. To say that out loud to a stranger means that he's serious, right? So I said, how about we just go back and we talk about things really quick. And when it came down to it, he has a hard time accepting the good comments or the good things that people say about him, because he doesn't feel that way. How do you teach somebody to turn that? The I ams. How do you teach somebody that, other than like just those moments that you take? And he cried. I mean, he just sat there and cried, going from angry to sad and very crying. And hearing some of his story, I cried with him, because I don't know. Like, there's nothing you can really do except for have that, you give him that time.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing and walking away that he doesn't have an I am that is quality.
Or, you're right. He probably just says, I am sick. I am tired. I don't like people. I'm tired of... I heard a part of that conversation, because we were in the same building today.
Yeah.
And I heard him say, like, I don't want any...
I don't want help.
Well, he said, I came here for help, but what I heard... what he said and his actions were not congruent with one another.
Right.
So he wanted something. He didn't want to give any part of himself to get it, I think, because he's scared, nervous, and has probably had a lot of trauma in his life.
Lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I got 25 minutes and I just wept with him because of the trauma. So how do you erase that embedded negative I am?
Well, I can't speak for anybody but myself, and I still struggle with it. I mean, I literally the other day said, I've said this a couple of times in the last 6 months. Well, I'll look at myself, like I looked at myself in the mirror because I happened to be standing in front of the mirror when I made this mistake, and I was like, you are so stupid. And I was like, oh, that just didn't fit or feel right. So there's an evolution there for me. And that's not something I would say throughout my life. I can say that I've said to myself a lot, but I have said things like, I'm tired of your bullshit. I'm tired of cleaning the house and you messing it up. I'm tired of doing all the work myself. I'm tired of, I'm this, I'm that, and nothing that would help build me up, but everything that would just continue to subjugate me.
Mm-hmm. So were you looking for somebody to soothe you and reassure you?
Well, yeah,
and be
please. I
grateful
mean,
for
that was
you?
my 20s. I was looking in the eyes of everybody else.
Oh, that was me last week. Like maybe even yesterday.
So what I had to do is I just had to start peeling away at, when I got into recovery, that kind of started my whole life on a marathon, not a sprint, but a long marathon. Because when I look at it now, I mean, I got sober in 1993. The first time.
That was a good year.
And I didn't have any kids. It was just me. But I look at everything that I've learned since then, and there's still stuff I'm stuck on. But that's just human nature. I know that I like to not say those things to myself anymore, but it has to be a conscious decision.
It is damn damaging. That's all I got to say.
It's hugely damaging. I'm gonna when we come back from the break, I've got some stuff that I just want to read, just some little quotes and things like that.
I love it.
That we can
great conversation.
discuss.
David Crotches. I said it. I win. Okay.
So what would you say? Like right now, I would say, honestly, like the first thing that comes to my head is, I'm ready to take my pants off. And I don't mean that in a sexual way. I'm ready to take my belt off and my bra.
This is happening.
This is Whack-A-Mole with Tina B and Charmaine G. Raw discussion about the messiness of life. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Whack-A-Mole. We welcome you back to Whack-A-Mole, raw discussions about the messiness of life. Now, here are your hosts, Tina B and Charmaine G.
Okay, everyone. Tina just went and skirted around to go get some books, so it's just me and Shawnee D.
Hey.
Hey, Sean. Okay, we can play now that the mom's gone. What are we going to talk about? The chair? Yeah, so I can't give you any more information. Let's just say the housewarming gift will make it warm.
Here she comes.
Okay, I want to tell the listeners though right now that this topic is all individualized. When these comments come back, take a minute after it's over and answer this to yourself. I am what? I am what? And it can change every day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It can change every day.
Throughout the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have to be careful with what I choose to say. I'm far more aware of it now, but I wasn't for a long time. And
so, like if people were to hear you, like if you're in this tailspin and you've got that negative vibe, because shit's happening, right? Life's happening and it's taking its toll on you. So your I ams are just tail spinning you down the spiral, right? If people were on the outside listening to you, what would they be thinking? Like, in a sense, would they be going, she's losing it? Or would they be like, oh my gosh, she's having a hard time? Or would they be like, she's such a nag. She's never happy. My gosh.
well, I think that, yeah, that's true for, I think that's a lot of the voices in our head. I mean, we don't even have to hear that from other people. I can do that to myself.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I talk to myself all the time. Never answer back, but I talk.
So I just want to go back to this conversation with Oprah and Joel Osteen. I bought this book called The Wisdom of Sundays.
What about your pants? Are you going to pull them back up?
I did not take my pants off, people. But I was saying, like, it's the end of the day. I want to loosen my belt. I want to go home. I want to take my bra off. I want to be in my comfies, and I want to be sitting next to my husband.
Oh,
That's what I want to do.
Gregory.
So this book, actually, my husband bought it for me for Christmas a couple of Christmases ago, called The Wisdom of Sundays. And it's just little excerpts of interviews that she's had. And in here, she talks about that. Pastor Joel I can never say his name. Joel Osteen. So this is Oprah talking, and she says, I heard a sermon that you preached on the power of I am. And that sermon literally changed how I spoke power into my life. I was shooting the butler. I had heard the sermon. I was exhausted. We'd been shooting and shooting and shooting, and your voice came into my head that whatever follows I am will determine what your experience will be. And Wayne Dyer says the very same thing. He says, two of the most powerful words for what you put after I am are two of the most powerful words for what you put after them shapes your reality.
Wow.
Okay, so this kept coming up in my life.
First Exodus scripture.
Just I am who I am. It's in Exodus 3:14.
So that is the reality.
Yes. So God says I am. We're going to pull this apart, and I'm going to destroy it for sure. But it's I am who I am. Now, if we go back to in biblical times, personal names were often chosen to give information describing in some way the character of a person or the circumstances at the time of their birth. So God saying, I am who I am, what does that mean? It's hard to wrap your brain. For me, it was hard for me to wrap my brain around that. And I
think
still
it's the
don't know that.
latter. I think that there was reference and there was knowledge and information knowing that, that there is a higher power, there is an almighty, and at the time of his birth, that's how he represents, I am who I am.
And he is presence. There's no explaining him.
No.
Really.
Well,
He is power. He is evolution. I'm going to get in trouble
the
with that word.
all-being.
Yes. So,
Well, and if I were to answer that, like if I were to make that statement, which I very much can say I'm qualified to make that statement, meaning that I think everyone is, they can say, I am who I am. I take on the tone, and my interpretation of that would be, I am who I am. Just love me for who I am and accept me, right? I hear that quite often from my loving sister, and I love her. I think that her comments of, I wish people would just accept me for who I am, that makes me question, does she? If she's looking for it so much, does she accept who she is? Because I feel, honestly, like I'm always going to be looking further of who I am. Every day I'm going to learn more about myself.
See, for me, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started listening to this and kind of uncovering and discovering stuff, there's a level deeper than that. So if somebody says, love me for who I am, when I said that decades ago, it was love me for all of my, like at the time, it was because I'm going to be an asshole for, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And this is more of a speaking reality into your life.
Right. It's like putting it out there to get what you need back. So
and not just a perception of that, but the actual
we're manifesting.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that with manifestations these days, and I think people expect something to happen right then.
Do you think they want it to be like an all like, oh, it's happening?
Okay, so you know what? Let me share a story here. And then I have a funny story for the end of our podcast. I was challenged by my daughter to do The Secret. She bought the book, and her and her boyfriend did that. This was like a couple of years ago. So
I advise everybody look into that.
She bought the book for me and Samantha, and we started to do it. And there's like a financial step, like you're 10 days into it, and it talks about finances.
Yeah, I didn't go there.
And be grateful for all the money that you've ever been given. And they asked that you put that someplace where you can see it. So it's on my desk on a $1 bill.
Oh.
That just sits right there on my desk. I am not kidding you. The day after, the morning, I did that in the morning, went that day. The following day, I got a huge deposit in my checking account.
What?
Like $2,800. Yes,
From
was
who?
real. It was money that was owed to me.
Okay.
But it
I
just
get where it
happened
comes
to,
from.
like, I had just given up on having it at all.
Yeah.
And it came. I'm not kidding.
Okay, I
and
need
so
to do
it
that.
blew me away. Now that was instant. Okay, that was like within 24 hours.
I wonder if I do that, I'll get my stimulus check.
You're killing me right now.
I'm sorry.
So, but what I'm starting to see is that the things that I have maybe wanted to manifest when I first started to do that and making my gratitude list and all of that, there's a much slower process with some things. Okay.
Is that the one with a vision board too? Where you create a vision board?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I mean, you could. I don't remember. No, I don't think so. I mean, there may be some exercise in there, or there's more than one book too. There's like the power, I didn't do that. I just literally was writing a gratitude list, and every time I wrote that first thing in the morning, it changed my perspective. I had a physical. I could feel my heart physically change from doing that. And it blew me away. I can be very pessimistic. I can be very cynical.
Cynical, yeah.
And I started doing this, and I was just like, it blows me away. Now, I've stopped doing it at times too, and then I go, oh, I should probably do that again. Every time I write, I am grateful. You write that 10 times and say why you're grateful. I am grateful to be a mom because my kids have shown me how to love. Okay, just a basic little one.
You really can't have a negative comment after the word grateful.
No,
can
if you say I am grateful, you have, there's no,
I mean, think about
unless
it.
you're
Right
being
now, my
sarcastic.
mind- well, that's me. But to be honest with you, my mind's going in 15 million different places of what I'm grateful for. And to take that time, I don't. And I'm immediately flushed with feelings of you're full. Your life is full of blessings.
It's one thing to say that and go, look at all of the blessings. And
Yeah.
yes, they all are there and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And I should be grateful. But it's another thing to be grateful
Yeah.
and to say that you are grateful. Because once I started doing that, it stopped being about this idea of gratitude
Yeah.
and started really being
Right.
heartfelt
Right.
gratitude. And it shifted my perspective. There were days it like sliced my head open, like the day of the money, that I got the money, but then there were other times where I was just like, one of the things, and it was the place I worked at before, I said I was having problems with a couple of people there. And so I started writing, I am grateful for so-and-so and I had to really think hard at what I would be grateful to, Joe. That's not his name.
Tina loves everyone too, so they had to be some pieces of work.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of people out there, and they know who they are, that would not say that or co-sign that in any way. However, I was having a problem with these couple of people, and I wrote like one morning, I am grateful for Joe. I am grateful for Cindy. Okay.
Is that their real names?
No.
Okay,
No, I
cool.
just made those up.
I wish you would out them,
So,
actually.
so that day at work, I was sitting in the control room. I worked at a detention center for children.
Ooh, we're getting closer.
And people would just come in and talk to you like you couldn't tell them to get out. It was like them coming in here. Well, anyways, they would come. This one guy came in and I had so much love and compassion towards him.
Oh my God.
He had been pissing me off for months, but I wrote
Your
that
heart
and I
softened.
welcomed him into my space, and he just started saying all kinds of cool stuff to me about me, like nice things. It blew me away. So there's that. There's something that you're beckoning that into your life. So Wayne Dyer says, I am are two of the most powerful words. For what you put after them shapes your reality. So,
Ooh, should we try it on air? You weren't prepared for that, were you?
no, because I don't know in what context.
It's not a falsehood. It's not like you said how you're just saying it. Like, what do you feel like you want to manifest right now? What are some areas or one specific thing that you're like, I'm not going to go grateful because I have a lot of gratitude, but I'm going to try it. Is this
Mhm.
okay? I am willing to be loved the way I truly need to be.
Or the way that God intended.
Yes, very true. You know what? I said that comment today because I said, we were talking about cheating death. I said, that's like an oxymoron to me. Cheating death.
Mhm.
Because death is inevitable.
Mhm.
If you're breathing, someday you won't be, right? And so I said, cheating death isn't really like possible because you're going to die. That just means that just wasn't your time. And that's how I look at it. And I feel like, honestly, that I'm willing to go through all of these channels of life and growth and pain and stretching and, just the whole beautiful part that life we have to offer by conjuring up, the positivity, because I can't stay down long. Like, honestly, like when I'm around people that, just they're on that haze of just unhappiness. I don't know if you're like this or not, but you try to lift them and they want no business of it. They're like,
No,
nah.
and I like to just I separate myself from people like that now. I didn't used to. I used to think that I had some obligation
Yeah.
to be friends with
You
somebody
are
who was a
responsible
shitty
for
friend.
their feelings.
Yeah, and I'm over that now.
Yeah.
I'm then those people need to walk through their pain and
Yeah.
their suffering, and they need to find their answers.
And they may not in this
They
life.
may not. They may not. However, and I'm not saying that I have learned, I'm just this almighty being of whatever. I do, the book by Dr. Wayne Dyer called Wishes Fulfilled, Mastering the Art of Manifesting. And it's just you saying, like he states in here, he has some exercises and stuff that I also did. It's separating your ego from, as much from the negative side of it, it's separating your ego even to, like what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I am willing to be loved the way that I need to be. So, and I'm not, I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
I get it. And I get that's where you're
Yeah.
at because we've had conversations.
And that's where my
But if we pull our ego
manifestation
out of
comes
it-
in, because I think, okay, I'm gonna self-preserve. I'm not gonna let them in, and I'm not fooling myself. I'm gonna add this little contribution, echoing your ego comment, because there's a difference between your ego and your soul.
Mm-hmm.
It says your ego is the image you have of yourself in your social mask, whereas your soul is who you truly are deep down below all the labels and titles. It's eternal, divine, and inherently worthwhile. When you learn to align more with your soul each day, life seems to flow more naturally, and taking action is less of a struggle. You feel a greater sense of freedom, joy, satisfaction, empowerment, and inner peace. You love and accept yourself deeply, even when things aren't going perfectly to plan. Unfortunately, we're not taught how to do this.
No.
We're not taught how to align with our soul. And after years of being controlled by our own fears or worries or constant chatter of our ego, what other people may think about us, we can find our way to this place. I think a lot of it is, leading towards your topic of manifesting that.
Don't you see somewhere along the line, I've read a lot of books in my life and a lot of, if you will, self-help. I hate to use that term,
Why?
but a lot of, because if I could help myself, I wouldn't need the effing book. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
I
If I
think
could
the
have-
effing deserves a ding, but to be honest with you, I don't mind it just because I'm always looking for things that maybe somebody can advise me
No,
on.
I'm
or
not
grow
saying,
from.
I'm
Yeah.
all over that. I
Yeah.
love it. I just hate that title,
What
the
would you call
self-help.
it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Grow
But
and-
self-help, it just edifying literature. You know,
Okay.
literature that edifies and feeds my spirit.
Which
Now,
you
there
have
have
two
been-
beautiful books
Yes,
right there.
there have been a lot of books that I've read that talk all about the problem, and they never tell you what the solution is. You know,
Yeah. That's a journal.
yeah, well, right. Very good. That is a journal. But the more that I explore, I study these books now.
Yeah.
The Untethered Soul. I want to do a whole podcast on that because it's
Okay.
amazing. But I study them because you can go, oh yeah, I totally relate to that, and yeah, and then you read the last page. Boy, that was a good book, and yeah, they've got it going on, and then you go nowhere with it. So somewhere along the line, I just started studying these things and reading them over and over and over, and finding the truth in there, and that's really a beautiful thing.
It is.
But my pain in my life has motivated me to do that. I can't say that, oh, I'm just this inquisitive gal, and so I started reading all these books. No, I was like on my knees, suffering and in pain,
Yeah.
and wanted to manifest something different, I guess, really, when you think about it, though I
Yeah.
would not have called it that
So
then.
you were thirsty for change. Just
I was
because-
thirsty for change. And there's change that's going on in my life right now where I can see that I have broken a cycle, and it's profound. That's also another topic. But I have a story, a funny
Okay.
story, okay, that's totally off this topic. But
Oh.
I was telling Susan and Rachel the other day. Remember the other day when the last week when I had that dress on and my boots and that cardigan when
Uh-huh.
we
Yeah,
recorded
yeah,
last
yeah.
week? Earlier in the day, like after 5, Greg had stopped by there. Well, and my door was locked. Like he'll come in that door right there,
Yeah.
that outside door, and come in. And my door's usually locked because people like to come in there and jibber jabber, and I ain't nobody got time for that. So I close it often. And but he can just walk right in. You know, anybody can walk in or knock or whatever. So he went to open it and it was locked. Okay. So about 30 minutes before, and I didn't know he was coming. So 30 minutes before that, I'm sitting at my desk with my Spanx on in my dress. Okay. And I sat down, I got up and went to the bathroom. I came back and sat down and I felt like a pain in my back, like a gas pain in my back. Okay.
Like a fart in your back?
Like a gas pain, like that you get in your abdomen, but it was up in my back. That's one of 2 times I have felt that. And I knew exactly what it was. Okay. So I'm
you
in
had
my
a fart
blue
in your
dress.
back?
I'm in my blue dress.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
So what do? I have a blanket on my chair. I close my door. I put the blanket on the floor. I get on my hands and knees. Then I get on my forearms and my ass is in the air and I'm like, just move this bubble. I don't even
So
care if
you
it
were
comes out. I just want
farming?
it. I just wanted it away from where it was. Okay. So wait, that's not the end of it. Okay. It gets so much better. So it didn't happen, right? So now I'm like, okay, should I take my Spanx off? Should I put? So I ended up
Should I
taking them
start
off,
going on my
but then I
back?
wanted to make sure that when I put my Spanx back on, because I needed to wear them for the rest of the day and night, that I wasn't going to be in pain. Like
Yeah,
again,
you had
putting
to
them back on,
fart.
I had it was so bad. So and that wasn't even on my plate. I was just in pain. So now I have a chair that faces in the corner of my office, in the front of my office, but it faces the door. It's just a decoration.
Oh my gosh. this is
So I
awesome.
wanted to. So here I am in my dress and my come fuck me boots, right? And I get over, I go over to the chair and I bend over the back of it. I sit on the chair backwards so that I'm pushing below my breasts and my rib cage to push this bubble, and I'm trying to get so the bubble goes up. Okay. And it suddenly occurred to me, if somebody knocked and walked in right now, as I am on the chair with my legs open, my knees open, bent over the back of the chair, okay? My skirt's like kind of riding up. I mean, think of it, mid-thigh from the back with the boots on.
yeah.
I've taken my Spanx off, and I'm just trying to move this bubble up my body.
Let's just call it a
So
fart.
I stop. Well, I would call it that, but that never happened. So I stop. I'm like, I need to lock my door because that would not be like that would
when
traumatize
break time,
somebody.
buddy.
So I got past it like it happened. Like I don't think I didn't
It didn't
pass
go
gas,
anywhere.
but it moved, and so I was no longer in pain. So there I am pulling my Spanx
the
on
heck?
over my spiky heeled boots, my suede black boots. And I put them on. I forget that the door is locked, but it's closed, right? So I'm sitting there. I'm still inputting my information, la 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 la. And I hear Susan go, "Hi!" And then I hear a knock on the door, and he comes in and he sits down and he goes. I could tell he was just sort of bothered, but didn't really say anything.
Right.
And I was like, "Are you okay?" And we were going out to dinner that night with you, and we were doing things, and we had to come here, and so I had hours of ahead of me that I didn't want to feel like that. So, so I was telling him. He goes, I told him. I said I had this gas pain in my back. He's my husband. I'm going to tell him that. So before he leaves, he goes, your door was locked. What were you doing in here?
Let me show you.
Let me tell you that I had a gas pain in my back, which I just told you. So I was leaning
farming.
over my chair, forget about it. So I told Susan and Rachel that story, but I had all the animation.
Yes.
They were rolling. They were laughing so hard.
Oh
So
my
I wanted to
gosh.
share that story because it makes light of things. So I am
love how we're leading into this.
I am grateful to not have gas pains. I am ready to take my belt off and put my comfies on.
I'm ready to go to bed.
I am too. Thank you.
Oh, everyone, we love you.
I am a perfect being, as are you.
Yes. Live life, everyone.
Yes.
Enjoy your week.
You've been listening to Whack-A-Mole with Tina B and Charmaine G. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Watch us on YouTube and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us next time for, well, whatever may happen with Tina B and Charmaine G on Whack-A-Mole. This has been a production from A Podcast Studio.